the meeting to order. Welcome back. It's been a while. Nice to see everybody again. And just a reminder, we are recording tonight's meeting for broadcast on the various community access outlets. So keep that in mind as always. And to start off, we have some roster changes to talk about. And first of all, the school committee has gone through reorganization. We want to welcome Robin Dragonetti, the chair, as the new school committee representative to the school building committee. And David Schmier has agreed to stay on, although no longer part of the school committee, he's agreed to stay on the school building committee, and we're grateful to continue to have his expertise. He's been a valuable contributor, and thank you, David, for agreeing to stay on. So the revised roster has gone to the MSBA. They have confirmed receipt, but they have not yet affirmed those changes that we've made. So for purposes tonight, we don't have a lot of heavy lifting as it relates to voting. David, because he was already on the roster, is still a voting member. Robin can participate in tonight's meeting, but until we get her affirmed as part of the roster, she won't be a voting member probably until the next meeting. So, but again, welcome, Robin, and thank you, David, for continuing to serve. We appreciate it. First order of business to approve the minutes of the April 8th meeting previously distributed.
Moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? So voted. Thank you. Sean.
Sure. So we have just a couple of invoices for this meeting. We have, for the month of March, 2 HMFH invoices. They're standard feasibility study lump sum cost, and then an additional $3,000 for a site investigation through one of their subcontractors. And then the same for the month of April. For PMA, we have their March and April invoices as well.
And I usually look to Kathy for just a nod of affirmation, but she's not here tonight, so I won't do that, obviously. But does anybody have any questions about the financial update? If not, I'll entertain a motion just to affirm that update.
So moved.
And a second. Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Are there any opposed? So voted. Thank you. All right, I assume it's
Okay.
James?
So we have submitted our PSR to the MSBA, and they've acknowledged that they've received all the pieces, asked for a little bit of more information, a couple of minor updates, but they have it. We'll be waiting for their comments. In the meantime, we are kicking off schematic design, both in the office and here tonight. In this phase, we will greatly work to define an actual building, an actual design, and by the end of this phase, there'll be a floor plan and a design concept, and an initial understanding of sort of the big picture materials and forms for the project to go forward. We'll also, at the end of this phase, have real costs. I say real costs, it's still a budget, it's a cost estimate, but there'll be a highly detailed cost estimate, and that is the costs that gets voted on by the community for approval to move forward with the project. As part of the preferred schematic design, preferred schematic report that we submitted to the MSBA, we also have a meeting with the MSBA that's called the Facilities Assessment Committee meeting, the FAC. And that is going to take place on May 21st. We have submitted our slides for that to the MSBA along with the PSR submission. And the first thing we're going to do tonight is share that those slides with you. A lot of it is stuff you've seen over the course of the PSR phase, but there's some sort of final development that you'll see. They always ask that you start with something you guys know well, but with just sort of a regional map. Here you see the Rose McDonald School with the red star, and the other three schools with the orange circles. A lot of this is sort of prescribed by them as to what each slide should talk about. So here's a vision for the new Roselle McDonald Elementary School. I say that, but I realize that one thing that may happen over the course of this project is sort of a decision as to whether or not this school is going to be the Roselle McDonald Elementary School, or if it's going to be something else. Not for tonight, but just something to think about. But the new Roselle McDonald Elementary School, a lot of this language comes out of the project goals and the visioning that we did at the beginning of the project. But the new school will support innovative learning in an inclusive environment for everyone, including students, teachers, staff, and community. It will serve the entire West Bridgewater's entire K through 6 grade population, and it's designed to celebrate its site. It'll be a school in the woods, looking out into the trees across the wetlands, and it'll be connected through its design to its natural systems and to its West Bridgewater community. The new school is organized in 2 academic wings around a central core. That core will be the heart of the school and will include shared facilities, the gym, the cafeteria, the library. Off of that central core is the lower school serving kindergarten through 3rd grade, and the upper school serving 4th through 6th grade. And then within those academic wings, each grade is centered around this idea of the extended learning commons. We've talked about that before. This is an active teaching space that each grade and all the classrooms kind of come together for collaborative work, for project work, for space, for projects that need space, as well as opportunities to bring different classes together. The project goals as defined in that early visioning session includes spaces and experiences to support adaptions and innovative learning, an inclusive learning environment for everyone, again, for teachers, staff, students, and community, where everyone feels safe and welcome to be their authentic selves. Some of this language came from those visioning sessions, came from you. Space for collaborative opportunities, we talked about that already with these extended learning commons. Flexible spaces, flexible teaching spaces, authentic connections to the outside, indoor and outdoor community spaces, a welcoming school culture with a sense of belonging, and a campus feeling to connect age groups and amenities. We'll be looking at site plans, and we can talk about that campus idea. Here you see a lot of what I've already talked about, but here's this idea of that shared central set of spaces, kind of the heart of the school. Again, gym and cafeteria, library, as well as admin and some special education spaces.
So, Gary, when I was looking at the slides, so has it been determined the district admin office will be in the new school at this point? Because at our last meeting, it seemed like there was some ambiguity on that.
As far as MSBA is concerned in our submission, it is in. We have, the coming months to talk further about it with you all.
And you'll be okay with the flow rate?
With the what?
The flow rate?
Yes, the calculation was part of it, absolutely, yeah.
So the bottom line is, it's, as of today, it's in. If during the process of reviewing the details of schematic design, we as a committee feel that it may not be in the best interest for cost, operations, whatever it might be, obviously that discussion has to somewhat happen in combination with Mark and the school committee about where the district office should be, but we certainly have the opportunity to look at a different option than including it in the new project moving forward. It's better to take it out down the road, so that's why it's in there today for the MSBA submittal. We would never be able to put it back in if it wasn't in there when we did the submittal.
So, but under that submittal, that means Spring Street would only be pre-K.
Correct.
Pre-K and related services, yes.
What does that mean?
Speech, OT, AP, staff.
But who would be attending that there?
No,
other than
the
pre-K?
pre-K would be servicing the pre-K students.
I will say that is a decision that we're hoping to bring early in the schematic design. We'd like to sort of nail that down in the next month, let's say. But we'll be bringing materials to help with that decision. So then the other thing you see on this adjacency diagram, this is, how spaces relate to each other, is the lower school on the left side and the upper school on the right, the kindergarten, but then the 1st through 6th grades, each with this extended learning commons marked here as ELC, extended learning commons, with the classrooms centered around that, opening up onto it. You also see outdoor classrooms, and there will also be play areas associated with each of the upper and lower schools. Any questions on this or anything else I've talked about before I keep going? This is a existing site analysis. It talks about it shows a lot of things that we've talked about a lot over the last months, primarily a lot of blue, a lot of wetlands, a lot of wetlands that that we've learned about through the process of this feasibility study. So that's what you see in blue. Obviously the existing building with its 2 courtyards, the existing septic field, and then we're still showing the sort of buffer between the neighborhood zone and the site. You're also seeing, and I'll talk about this again in a minute, but you're also seeing the existing road with its pretty severe S-curve. And again, we've heard from fire that is one of the things that they really don't like about the existing condition and that will be changing. So here you see the new site plan, and there's some things in here that you haven't seen before. I'll start with something you have. So here you're looking at the existing building, not the existing building, the proposed new building, 1st floor plan, with the lower school here and that core of central shared spaces located here. Both of those you can see are outside of the footprint of the existing building. This red line represents the footprint of the existing building. And so they can be built first. That will include K through 3. So the 1st through 3rd graders in the existing building can move out of the existing building into this. Then that building can be removed and the upper school, 4 through 6, built here. We are, through the next month or two, going to be talking more about the possibility of can the existing Roselle operate without that gym wing. We've talked about it. It's the gym and it's 2 classrooms. And if that's the case, then this could be done in a single phase. But that's something we'll be working to resolve again in the next month or so. You are also seeing on this site plan play areas. These blue represent two separate play areas, a larger playground towards the lower school and kind of a multi-purpose hard court. Perhaps, I mean, that's yet to be designed. We will be having, and some of you, I believe, are invited, are part of this. We will be having this site programming working group or working session where we define exactly what are the programs that are desired on site in terms of play, in terms of more passive use, in terms of parking. Right now, we're showing 160 parking spaces, most of them located here in front of the building, and some located around back. About 25 of them, if I recall, are located around back here. The footprint as it exists right now has two entry points, one located here at the upper school, one located here at the lower school, both sort of coming together at that central core space. Another aspect of the site plan is that from the school, the playground and this big green area can be accessed easily without crossing bus traffic, car traffic, and any automotive. So that there's access to that. Coming over to the east side of the site and the entry to the site, you can see that we've softened that S-curve and very much made that a much smoother, more direct road. We're also able, and we're pretty excited about this, we're also able to locate a play field, whether it's a soccer field or a multi-purpose field. I mean, that'll be part of this site programming exercise, but we're able to get a brand new field that right now doesn't exist on site. This does a couple of things. One, it provides a play field, but also it will allow for views upon entering the site to be less blocked and make the school feel closer to North Elm. Visually, you'll start to see the school much sooner upon entering the site. Any questions on the site plan?
There's no parking next to the field right there. The parking would be at the...
The parking is located here, correct? I mean, I think that is something that we can talk about more as we develop the design. The width of the road and the ability for parking and getting a fire truck past traffic, it'll have an impact. But any other questions? Yeah.
Is the playfield funded through the SBA? Do they allow for that?
Yes.
Yes and
It's
no.
part of the- it's part of the
It's part of the
project.
project. They have site cap limit. I think right now it's 8% of the total project value is what they'll contribute to site costs. So if it's within that cap, they'll contribute to it. If it's above that, they won't. So typically projects do incur higher site costs than the MSBA pays for. So it's almost a shell game. What are you saying they pay for? What are you saying you're not? You have to take a look at it as a total project value, what the total grant is.
I didn't know if it was analogous to the gym situation.
It is not, no.
Okay.
But we should, this could be a grass field, it could be turf. There's a wide range of what this could be and what the cost associated with that.
It's not categorically ineligible.
And James, I didn't hear, Donna, what was your question?
I just didn't know if there would be parking by the field, like along the road in.
Parking.
Just to be closer to the field, if the
Yeah,
field is there, you're
okay.
saying, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's something that, actually Mark asked about, not in this design, but previously, like, the ability to have even parallel
Right.
parking and things, yeah. So those are certain things we can look at.
And James, for buses, I forget, is there a slidable buses? I thought there was, yeah. Okay.
Before you go quickly, Scott, you had half a hand, did you? Are you?
No, his
are you-
hands are right there.
Okay, good, okay.
So this is a circulation diagram The dashed yellow is pedestrian. We don't show it going all the way around the school, but there would be sidewalks throughout. This is just sort of the pedestrian connections beyond the center part of the site. Orange is bus. The bus would come in, come along here and have its own, starting here, have its own access point and queuing area that would wrap all the way to here, allowing buses to drop off and pick up safely on a sidewalk that would then have a controlled cross located here across from the main lower school entry. And then buses would come out the same way. Cars can come in, queue up along this whole outer road, again for drop off and pick up. So there's a large queuing area. Also, separate, cars can access parking and park. They also can go around the building. That's really intended for access to this parking area here, and then they come out again the way they came. Primarily, this access road is intended for this ring road, I guess, is for emergency and delivery. Delivery happens here next to the receiving and near the kitchen. Any questions on this?
I mean, can I just explain? There's a general premise, right, when you have the 2 lanes of drop-off, that the bus is a controlled drop-off location. And you know, you open the doors, you've let those kids out, and they're all going to cross over at once, which is why they're sort of the step removed from the face of the building. Where parents and the doors swinging out, those are closer. They're not crossing any traffic, they're opening the door, and they're right on the sidewalk when they exit. So that's the theory behind when you have the 2 parallel loops of why the bus is the further one versus the parents, which are a little more rogue than a controlled bus drop-off point.
I'm glad you explained that.
Thank you. Yeah.
Rogue, I like that.
Scott.
The traffic is coming at the top, where the buses and the cars all come together at the top of the parking. Is that all one-way traffic?
Yes,
Okay.
it's all loop. Yep.
Because then
one way.
the guys on the parents parking or the teachers, staff parking on the interior, if they go down, they're gonna have to loop back around.
If you go into the parking lot, you have to come out of the parking lot. You're not connecting
go
to.
left.
And
then
everyone's
come all the
going,
way
yeah,
around.
exactly.
Okay, I
Yeah,
just want to make sure,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know if there was like another access point
Yeah.
out of there.
And we're going to have, traffic analysis on all of this
Yeah.
and further input on all of
Okay.
this. It's just our first kind of
Yep.
comprehensive pass at everything. And we went back and forth about whether or not to have some parking in a different location. So if that's not desirable, we don't have to. But one pro we saw of that is you could see that that's where your custodial, your kitchen staff, your district office people, whatever people could be that are really sort of designated that part of the site would come in at an entry point there. And again, we were trying to maximize the play and open space
Yeah.
up front and balance that out. So time will tell how it pan out, but that's what we have now.
I think one thing we will want to look at as we move forward in design is whether or not, this portion of this should be 2-way so that people can come this way to get out without going all the way around.
Yeah.
Or even, take a little bit of the green space and bring this road a little further around. But that's, things we will be developing as we move forward.
I mean, the traffic engineer will do counts, queuing counts, all of that kind of stuff to help support our understanding of how well this could work. But
How does the emergency access work with that?
The emergency access has access 360 around.
Oh, so
And also
the,
could come in the middle loop.
The blue line
Yeah.
is emergency.
oh, because
and
the
delivery.
part we had before was down on the south side. There was through the.
There
town.
is an emergency,
Oh, yeah.
there is an emergency easement from Goldie
Yeah.
down here. Let me back up a second.
We're not changing that. That's
Yeah,
an
yeah.
existing easement that's been there since Roselle was built.
We probably need to show it better, but it's still
Yeah,
there.
well,
Okay.
Yeah,
it
yeah.
still will be there, but we're not improving that, enhancing it. It's just there.
And our understanding is it's really fine for cars and trucks, pickup trucks, but that it's not good for fire truck access. What keeps happening? I'm sorry.
I don't know if you, you're still here on the screen. Display across the question. Help display across the question.
To hire a new police officer to sit down there and make sure everybody goes the right direction. going back
I know,
to school.
all the signage in the world, right? But again, rogue parents. I'd help you, but I don't know what you need.
The plug in the wall is first, hopefully.
Yes. Oh, no.
It was broken last week? Is there not another one
So I
anywhere?
saw them talking.
Yeah.
There were 2 cords over there last week, and one worked and one didn't.
Saying the outlet's broken?
Yeah, I told
That's
John
what he's
it
suggesting,
has
yes.
What?
Because you put in a ticket.
Who's gonna reset it?
That's what Tim said to her this morning. 'Cause
But I wouldn't trust standing on one of these chairs.
I brace myself on sitting. Yeah, because that's what he was telling me last night. He said, I talked to Linda about it because it's messed up her system too.
Correct.
Yeah.
So everything that's programmed.
Okay, but so do I do the question, Marcia?
No, not yet, it's still not here.
Is there something available on the other side of that?
So it's
I just reshared it with everyone too, so if you have it. All right, so.
Okay.
Dave,
Anyway.
we knew we made the right decision keeping you on.
What did you?
Okay. Don't touch anything. Okay, any questions on this before any more questions on this before I move?
And I would just say, some of the thinking in our minds too is sort of, again, purposefully engaging with the nature, the wetlands and whatnot, right? So you're on a beautiful site and having these paths to connection where you can imagine, taking your 6th grade class about science subjects, right? And go out and see the nature and learn stuff. So I think that going through that and working with landscape and with the educators to think about those connection points, that's some of the yellow paths you see will be interesting.
You made any provisions for snow removal?
Not quite there yet, but
Yeah,
perhaps very important.
Not in detail, but it is something that we will review in detail. So then, looking at the floor plan itself, this is the first floor. You've seen versions of this before, but it's further developed here. You can see that central sort of heart of the school with the gym, upper cafeteria and lower cafeteria both being served by a kitchen, which is close to delivery as well as mechanical spaces. The upper and lower admin spaces at the front near the 2 entries, controlling those 2 entries. The upper school, the 4th grade at this level, but also one of the music rooms, and here's another music room. We put music at the first floor so that it had sort of easy access to the performance area at the cafetorium. And then the 1st grade and kindergarten also at the first floor at the lower school side. You can see at the 1st grade, different than the kindergarten, there's this space in the middle, which is that extended learning commons, that area where classrooms can open up onto it and project work can happen, project and collaborative work. the second floor and third floor. Second floor includes in the center includes the media center. This is shown as a big, long space. It's many spaces programmatically. It's also the PD and community room, a number of educational services suite, as well as a few other spaces. You can see that right at the front, facing where people will be coming in, so kind of presenting itself, the educational opportunities directly to the entry. Multi-purpose space back here, the STEM classroom here, and then on the lower school side, the second grade and third grade laid out similarly to the first grade with the ELC in the middle, and then the fifth grade at the upper school side. That side is 3 stories with the sixth grade above that, and currently showing the district office also located right there. Any questions on floor plans? Massing and exterior character. You can see this is new to everyone. We've developed sort of just the massing of the building. Don't let this scare you. I mean, if it looks monolithic, it's simply because it hasn't been defined yet, right? There's going to be windows in the classrooms. It isn't going to be bright orange. But this just shows, where it's 3 stories, where it's 2 stories, the general bend of the volume. Because it's economical, most of our buildings use a lot of brick, a lot of masonry, and so you can get some ideas the possibilities of sort of exterior character of masonry, different kinds of openings, sun control devices, brise-soleils, they're referred to, as you see here, as well as different kinds of brick patterning, and this idea of sort of play central to the building, kind of wrapping around that active play. This slide speaks to that concept of the extended learning commons, the idea of this key central space here shown, and in our plans where possible shown this way as well, sort of at the end, connected to the natural light at the end, with the classrooms opening up onto it, as well as the small group spaces possibly opening up to it. So these can be multi-story, right? So the grade above this would have an extended learning commons as well, and they can be visually connected, which helps bring light in from skylights above, but also helps students, see where they're going in future years and help activate these spaces. But acoustically separated. I'm not sure if you can tell from back there, but this is at the upper floor, encased in glass, all along here. It's not just a railing, it's all the way up. So they're acoustically separated so that the activity doesn't disrupt the activity below or vice versa. Here you see that same idea of sort of project work and collaborative work happening connected to natural light. This is another project area. This is a small group room connected to 2 separate classrooms with the corridor wall behind us. We're also, committed to sustainability. These projects are major community resources, and sustainability means a lot of things. It means different things to different people. For us, it means 2 big picture things. It means user experience, human health. What are the chemicals in the materials that we're putting in the building, and really working hard to get out any harmful to specify materials that don't have a lot of harmful chemicals. Climate health, what's the embodied carbon within the structure and the materials that we're specifying. Ecosystem health, again, how are we going to connect the design of this building to the natural systems, and in this case, to the wetlands on site. Social health and equity, again, this has to do with the materials we're specifying and, really having transparency, the materials providing transparency, meaning written information about where these materials come from, how they got harvested, how they, from birth to site, essentially. And then circular economy, that's the other end of it. Both how these materials are created, but also what happens, is there an end-of-life plan? When that building, 70 years from now, is the next building to be knocked down, is there ways to reuse and plans to reuse the embodied carbon within those systems? So that's about primarily human health. The other piece to sustainability is of course systems and efficiency and low energy systems. The new energy code is really pushing everyone towards all electric buildings, and part of that is the mechanical systems you use to cool and heat the spaces, and part of that is how do you build the exterior wall so that it's tight, doesn't leak, and provides as much insulation as is needed. Any questions on that? I should add, we are planning some sustainability workshops, and we're still sort of setting dates and figuring out exactly when those are going to be and how we're going to structure those, but those are things that hopefully people can take part in. Another piece that the MSBA requires is sort of an accounting of where the space program differs from the MSBA guidelines. Without going into each and every line of this, I'm just going to take you to the bottom. Our building is just over 3,000 square feet larger than the MSBA guidelines. Almost all of that, well, maybe that's not the right way to say it. Kind of coincidentally, actually, that number is very much similar to the number for the district offices. But there's also, we're significantly over on special education, which is normal. Almost every project we work on is significantly over on special education. The other thing is, while most of these that say greater anyway, the MSBA is not going to pay for that overage. For the special education, the big one, was 5,420 net square feet. Assuming that the DESE approves the special education plan, which we submit to them at the end of this phase, and they typically do, the MSBA will pay for that square footage.
So all of the square footage that we're over won't be reimbursable?
No. This one will be.
If DESE approves that?
Which,
Let's
just say they will. So this 310 square feet, which we're over, will not be reimbursable. And this 2,950 net square feet will not be reimbursable. That's pretty close to the 3,000, just over.
Yeah.
So in some ways, yes, but it's not in detail, no.
Just makes the argument to keep the district offices at Spring Street.
That is, I'm sure, part of that decision.
James, just a clarification, the advanced draft of the presentation
Said less.
said less, so if any of you are following along or we'll have to make sure that gets changed and redistributed, and certainly it'll be corrected on the one that gets posted on the website as well. But if you are following along and are wondering why, that was changed.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
James, so if we bumped admin out, could we, and add, say we added that other 3,000 back in for the academic, would it be fundable then, or would they still be not paying for that?
No, they would, yes, that would be,
That makes good sense.
that would be acceptable,
Okay.
yeah. Correct. Acceptable isn't the right phrase, but it would be reimbursable. It would be reimbursable, yeah. And with that, I'm handing this back to you, Sean.
Sure. So within the presentation, as part of the facilities assessment subcommittee meeting, the MSBA wants to look at all the different options and all the different pricing. We've presented this a couple times in this meeting. This is the final values from our final estimates. It shows a whole bunch of different options with the preferred option circled down below. If you go back through prior presentations, you'll see a much more detailed version of this, but this is the MSBA's template that they ask us to use and submit, and this is the one that they're going to look at the feasibility assessment subcommittee meeting. They've asked us to amend this to add a couple more, and it's all pricing you've already seen before, so because it doesn't all fit in the slide, we just sent them the code upgrades that you're not going to go forth at Spring Street, and the 1 through 6 numbers that we just pulled from the PDP and pulled them forward, just added to the table. I think the real important one is that 17C prime, which is the one you picked. The next one is just our timeline. Sorry.
Just a couple of questions on the numbers. Does the 176 million, does that reflect what the design was that you illustrated earlier, including the field?
Yes.
But we don't know if it's grass or turf, so how do we do that?
I believe it includes it as grass at this point.
And then I noticed also, it does not include construction contingency?
Can you speak to that?
Project costs?
We do have contingencies built within our budgeting sheet. We do have contingencies built in there.
Because
Yes.
it says does not include it up top, so I'm just,
On.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so that's yes, that's in the estimated construction column total. That does not include construction contingencies. Those are carried in the estimated total project costs.
So the two,
Right-hand column.
The 176.
Don't hit the cord.
the two stars are here,
I need glasses and get.
estimated construction cost. So the contingencies are included within this column, not this one.
The MSBA wants to
but
see.
ultimately they're included.
Yes, yeah, designing pricing contingencies and construction contingencies are both included in the the markups for, everything else is designer fees, OPM fees, furniture, fixtures, equipment, contingencies, all are the delta between that 135 and the 176.
Got it. Thank you.
All right, before I move on, is there any other questions on this slide? All right. So just our timeline, we've just submitted the PSR. We await our facilities assessment subcommittee meeting, which, as James has said, is scheduled for towards the end of May, on the 21st. So we will, sit in front of that committee. We will show them the school and hope for a favorable outcome and a recommendation to approve. I suspect we will have that recommendation. We'll find out on the 21st. All right. I think that's, and then obviously we're moving into SD, so it's our next round of design where, as James had said earlier, we're going to have a lot more. We'll talk about the schematic design work plan now, about what that entails, running up to completion of that in October, and then setting up for a town vote sometime towards the end of the year.
We don't have any third community meeting yet, right? Or are we even
We're
planning?
talking, it'll come up. Yep. We're planning one, yes, but we want to get past, after the facilities assessment subcommittee, then there's another hurdle with the MSBA board. We want to get past that. In fact, I think we're planning it for that evening, but we'll go through the schedule.
Okay, so I will start with, this is a draft work plan, and just like the last go-around, if things need to shift, that's what we're going to do, and the more information we get, we may refine this. So here we are today, and we've already reviewed the FAS presentation, and now we're going to review the work plan. Just like before, we kind of are showing things in brackets that are going to be scheduled in between building committee meetings. So for instance, meeting with the district admin, meeting with facilities and staff, getting our conversations going with our traffic engineer about our design. A lot of sort of behind the scenes things. In particular, you've already hinted at this first meeting has been set up for June 2nd with district admin, police, fire, facilities, to really talk about a site program. So just like you have a building program that says you want X number of classrooms and X number of this, we want to similarly have some parameters to design the site by. How many play structures do you want? How much parking do you want? Where do you want the parking? Any of those things, we're going to try to really come up with that written program with that group. We also will be planning meetings with faculty and staff of the schools. And the aim there is to say, hey, we've selected an option, so we've met with all these folks and now it's coming back to the educators and talking about what we have. It's hearing from them about adjacencies. I think one of the big ones that we always find is the distribution for special education spaces and how those will lay out. And so really meeting with the art teachers, the music teachers, each department to hear more of their needs. It won't be the last time we meet with them. We meet with them multiple times throughout the design phases as the design develops. So that will be happening. We are not meeting, and I keep forgetting why, we're not meeting the 4th in May because of something.
It's already happened, May 4th. This week.
No.
I mean, the fourth, yeah.
We
What was
have
it? 20
senior week and
Yeah.
senior awards night.
Yeah.
What was that night?
So that's why there's not a second May meeting. So then June 10th and June 24th are the June meetings.
Yeah, so sorry. So all these dates that you're seeing in this work plan are are school building committee meetings. So basically the second and fourth
Yes.
Tuesdays, except when we get to October, and we'll go over that when we get there.
Yeah. So I plan for the June 10th, which didn't get written on here, is to also have a sustainability workshop. So the meeting that we'd have here will be reviewing the site design and program that's been discussed with the others, starting to talk about initial concepts for the overall look and feel expression of the building that you see as you arrive. We are going to be generating ways to configure Spring Street as preschool and ways to configure Howard as preschool. So these are not in your purview in terms of like, this building committee is not going to decide what to happen with these buildings. But because the preschool is not part of the building project, it's just really giving some what next and what's possible for you all and for the community to be aware of what's possible. So yes, you pointed out the preschool is already in Spring Street, but it in fact is in the rooms that don't have bathrooms. So there would be looking at relocating them to the part of the building that has kindergarten, that does have the bathrooms. And again, it would be looking at the Howard to say, how would we accommodate preschool spaces here? Obviously, I think everyone feels similarly about Howard, that it gives you another gymnasium in the system, so people don't really want to give that up. So as a building, as a location, it's very viable for use and could make a fabulous preschool center in the future. All of these things, of course, couldn't happen until this project's done, right? Until we're out of the way, then these possibilities are before you. And we will also be putting placeholders for the potential for where district would be as well.
I think Lori said, as has been said a lot, that this committee doesn't have purview over those decisions. I do think that this committee can make a recommendation. Do you agree with that, Gary?
Yeah, I think that's...
I think I should ask you.
I mean, I think that's fine. I don't think it carries necessarily any weight or any leverage, because again, it's not part of our scope. But I think a recommendation, if the committee so chooses, after reviewing the information, and somebody wants to make that motion, I would entertain that motion for making a recommendation.
So again, as I mentioned, I forgot got the line item on here, but also on June 10th, we're hoping to have that sustainability workshop, which in turn, we would present out a recap of that. On the right, you see last day of school is June 13th. The MSBA board meeting is June 18th. And we are hopeful, again, with, final blessing of scheduling, to have a community forum then. The idea is to not go out to the community without saying, MSBA just approved us to keep going. So that's why that would be what happens during the day and what would happen in the evening. June 24th, so you're going to see us kind of rotating through our meetings with you, talking about the site, talking about the exterior, talking about the interior, talking about the site, talking about the exterior, talking about the interior, the main, crux of the design components of the building. So on the June 24th meeting, we're going to have a presentation with you all about the difference between general contractor and construction management at risk. And we're going to be reviewing some interior design. And then moving into July 8th, our hope would be at that meeting that we would be able to make a decision around whether the project is going to go general contractor or construction manager at risk. It doesn't have to be July 8th, but if we're ready to have that conversation and make that vote, where it needs to be decided is before we send our documents to the estimator to bid, because they're different pricing. That have influence on the pricing. So we'll be talking about the exterior design. We are hopeful that we'll get a security design working group. And we also are proposing July 8th. Every time it says proposed, it's just, working through some potential schedule. And that's really having, again, your police and fire, SRO, administrators, really looking at the design with that eye. Around security components. There also is a range, it's not a huge range, of how much security elements you put into a building that will have price tags. So you could have a building with 200 cameras or 40 cameras, right? I mean, I'm just, right? I mean, so these kinds of things and engaging that as part of the design so that we're capturing that scope. July 22nd, back to the interior, and then bringing the security conversation to this larger group. Another aim for more sustainability conversations. Some of our conversations with a sustainable subgroup will be a continuation of what we've had before, which is related to mechanical systems, because again, that's a big driver for costs for the building. Into August, so bringing back conversations around sustainable design components, traffic impact analysis that's been done, more review of the site, which will include the civil engineering components. Then the fourth Tuesday, August 26th, back to exterior, more about materials. At this point, we're imagining we'll have some other sort of decisions and attributes around the cost estimate, right? So finalizing the project schedule, agreement with, how many months and where it's going to land for opening and that impact. We might be starting to talk about MSBA, even if you're on budget, loves to see a VE, value engineering list, which is really value management, of potential either add alternates or deducts. It depends on if we want to do those, or just understanding separate pricing for future decision making. So that will happen there because September 9th, our documents are going to the cost estimator. So a lot of this work is all kind of backing out from MSBA deadlines. So at this point, we will have a meeting with you. We will have sent everything to the cost estimator. We will review the documents with you so you understand what's gone to the cost estimator. We're going to also have that final review of the project schedule, which impacts the cost estimate. Then I don't want to call it downtime because we're still working to get the package together. It's just that this huge part has gone off, and we'll be working with the district administration around the DESE submittal, which is the Department of Elementary and Secondary Ed, and this is what you were talking about. We packaged that up. It goes with the MSBA submittal, and then MSBA distributes that component. It's almost like a pull-out component that goes to DESE for their review of the special education program here. And then similarly, kind of a little nudgy thing that MSBA likes to have is what they refer to as room data sheets. And so it's something that literally will get into some questions about how many outlets and things like that. So we'll have those review conversations also happen in September, not surprisingly, when people are back from summer break. And then we would report out about the DESI submission and the room data sheets with this group. Potential September community forum, TBD on timeframe. And then October, because of the deadline, and this is where Gary was going, because of the deadline and working backwards, we are proposing that October is first and third Tuesdays instead. And if that doesn't work, then we'll try to figure out something that does. With the idea that October 7th, we will have the first presentation of the cost estimates and the project budget for everybody. And then the next one on the 21st will be sort of approvals of all of that, which will tie into approvals to submit to MSBA. We will then submit the package to MSBA on the 23rd, and MSBA board meeting on the 29th. So we're again in the corner here, we're saying October, November, community forums, outreach, all of that to be sorted. And then town meeting and town vote also to be determined.
So on those October dates, is anyone aware of other committees or boards or commissions or other conflicts that occur with participants here with October 7th or 21st? So if we just switch to the 1st and 3rd for that 1 month to meet the MSBA deadline, are we okay with that?
Okay,
Yes, we are.
great.
And I will just make a comment on all the other meetings. I'll ask Mark, as he's done before, to send out calendar invitations now, so you have all these on your calendar. I mean, obviously, we're sticking to the, except for October, to the 2nd and 4th Tuesdays, but obviously, we're also doing it over the summer, and we know that people go on vacation, and obviously, that's expected. But I will make the request that if you do know that you've got a planned vacation and are going to be away for any of those dates that are on the calendar, if you can just let us know so we can be assured that we're going to maintain a quorum for all our meetings, which we've done successfully up to now, and we want that to continue. But obviously, we know it's a challenge with people's schedules in the summertime, but we just can't call a timeout for July and August and expect to meet the deadline we're up against. So we'd appreciate that.
Yeah, I saw there was a date for June 18th. Is that accurate?
Yep.
Only because that's a Wednesday night.
So that's not a committee meeting.
I couldn't see it.
Oh, that was the idea of a community forum potentially.
That's a community forum night, because that's the night, the
night
MSB
of the
board
day,
meets
yeah.
that day, so we get kind of that first phase approval after the facilities assessment subcommittee. So we thought we would just hold the next community forum that Wednesday night.
The selectmen's meeting that night, that's what I'm asking.
Okay,
Because it's on Wednesday night.
I mean, it could be the Thursday, the 19th.
Could be the
right? I
19th.
mean,
We
we're-
could
you know,
take-
yeah, we're just
Oh,
trying to
that's a-
hit it
that's a holiday,
just
yeah.
after.
That's a holiday.
Oh, that's right,
That's
Juneteenth.
why we just talked.
Yeah.
Well,
Yep.
Gary, why don't I get...
Let's do it on Friday and bring beers.
sorry.
Let me talk to the board, maybe we can move it. Summer is not a lot of heavy lifting, so maybe we can move it to Tuesday night.
Okay,
So I'll get back to you if that's okay.
okay, that'd be great. We'll keep it tentative for now. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, great, thank you. All right?
Okay. Back to you.
All right. I think it's just finally, we have a budget update. We are slightly below our forecast, but we're definitely on track. MSBA, we continue to put in MSBA reimbursement requests. One just got paid out on the 8th, so we'll continue that process. We submitted $482,000 to them, and we've received $264,000 back in reimbursement grants to date. So we're on track, pretty much where we thought we were going to be at this time. And then scheduled, I think this is similar to the slide. Again, we are moving into SD and excited to do so, and wrapping up in October, and then hopefully getting community support for a vote towards the end of the year. And we said our key dates are, we have a building committee tonight, facilities assessment subcommittee meetings on the 21st, and then we'll start those SD meetings, with the admin team meeting on the 2nd, and the next school building committee meeting scheduled for the 10th of June.
Anyone have any questions, comments, concerns? Just one point of information regarding the website. So since the last meeting, we have posted, there's a new tab under the, sure, let me try to bring this up so I have it accurately. Under the project update tab on the website, there's a new menu choice under the drop-down that says MSBA submittals. So we had never posted the full PDP submittal last December, so that's been posted, and we posted the full PSR submittal that we just did, the 984 pages or whatever it is. So everything is there, so if you're talking with people in town and they want the full detail of everything we've done, that's the place to point them, because particularly obviously the PSR has the more detail that has your selection. And I mean, obviously they could go back and look at the PDP submittal if they wanted to, but everything is there in full transparency of everything we've done so far. All right, anything else that needs to be brought to the committee? All right, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? All right, thank you very much, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hey, Sean,